While you sleep, while the world turns, something is rising, faster than anything in human history. And here is the terrifying part. We have seen this before. Not in living memory, not in recorded history, but in a story so old, so buried, so misunderstood, that most people have completely missed what it was really warning us about. The Tower of Babel. Most people think it is a story about a tall building. They are wrong, dangerously wrong. Because what happened at Babel, what caused God himself to interrupt human civilization, was not the height of a tower. It was something far more disturbing, something that sounds exactly like what humanity is doing right now. The question is not whether history is repeating. The question is, are we close enough to the top that God is about to interrupt us again? Before we go further, we need to ask the real questions. Not just what happened at Babel, but why God reacted the way he did. Because when you read that passage slowly, something unsettling emerges. God did not destroy them. He did not rain fire, no flood, no plague, no judgment of death. He simply scattered them. And that raises a haunting question. Why? Why would a united humanity terrify God? What were they actually building? Was it really just a tower? Or was it something else entirely? Something we have been building toward for 6,000 years and are now, for the first time in human history, close to completing. Genesis 11:6. God looks at what humanity is doing and says, "If as one people speaking the same language they have begun to do this, then nothing they plan to do will be impossible for them." Read that again. Nothing will be impossible. God himself acknowledged that a unified humanity speaking the same language with aligned purpose could achieve anything. That was what terrified heaven. Not the tower, the unity, the technology, the reach. And right now, for the first time since Babel, humanity is unified again. One digital language, one global economy, one internet, one artificial intelligence. And the things we are building, nothing is impossible for us. To understand Babel, we need to go back further than most people think. Not just to Genesis 11, but to what came before it. After the flood, after the waters receded, after Noah and his family stepped off the ark, God gave one command: fill the earth. Simple, direct, spread out, multiply, inhabit every corner of creation. That was the instruction. So what did humanity do? The exact opposite. Genesis 11:2. As people moved eastward, they found a plain in Shinar and settled there. They stopped. They gathered. They consolidated. They concentrated. In the land of Shinar, ancient Mesopotamia, modern Iraq, between the Tigris and the Euphrates, they built a city, and they made a decision together. A decision that changed everything. Genesis 11:3-4. Come, let us make bricks and bake them thoroughly. Stop there. This detail matters more than most people realize. They were using fired bricks, not natural stone, not what they found on the ground, manufactured material. This was technology. Intentional, scalable, reproducible. They were not just stacking rocks. They were engineering. They were industrializing. And then they said something that should stop every single person watching this cold. Come, let us build ourselves a city with a tower that reaches to the heavens, so that we may make a name for ourselves. Otherwise, we will be scattered over the face of the whole earth. Count the motivations. 1. Build a tower that reaches heaven. 2. Make a name for ourselves. 3. Refuse to be scattered. 3 motivations: technology, reputation, control. Now tell me, does that sound familiar? Because right now,
We have companies pouring hundreds of billions of dollars into technology designed to give humans access to godlike intelligence. We have a global obsession with branding, with making a name, with influence, legacy, virality, fame. And we have a world that is more connected, more unified, more refusing to be scattered than at any point since Babel itself. But we are getting ahead of ourselves. Because first, we need to understand what the tower actually was. The word used in Hebrew is migdal, which means tower, but more specifically, a watchtower, a military fortification, a seat of power. And the phrase reaches to the heavens, Verasho Vashamayim, in Hebrew idiom. This does not mean a literal skyscraper. It means supreme authority. It means we will sit where only God sits. Archaeologists believe Babel was a ziggurat, a massive stepped temple pyramid, common in ancient Mesopotamia. The Etemenanke ziggurat in ancient Babylon, whose name literally means house of the foundation of heaven and earth, was likely what Genesis is describing. 7 stories tall, a base of 300 feet on each side, with a temple at the top, dedicated to the god Marduk. But here's what most people miss. The ziggurat was not just a religious building. It was a center of civic power, a seat of government, an economic hub, a communication center, a symbol of collective human identity. In short, it was everything. Every dimension of human civilization, organized under one structure, reaching toward heaven. And for the first time in 5,000 years, we are doing it again, not in brick and bitumen, in code and data, in satellites and servers, in algorithms and artificial minds.
Let's start with the most terrifying parallel. Language. At Babel, they had one language, Genesis 11:1. Now the whole world had one language and a common speech. One language, one means of communication, one shared framework for understanding reality. God's response to this was to fragment it. He introduced confusion, the Hebrew word balal, from which we get the word Babel itself. Balal, to mix, to confuse, to jumble. He scrambled the signal, made them unable to understand one another, and the project died. Not because the tower was destroyed, because communication was broken. Now here is where this becomes uncomfortable, because in 2024, for the first time in human history, we have built a machine that speaks every language, simultaneously, fluently. AI language models, GPT, Gemini, Claude, Llama. These systems can translate between any two of the world's 7,000+ languages in real time, with near-perfect accuracy. The language barrier, the very judgment God placed at Babel, is being dismantled. But it goes deeper than translation, much deeper. Because underneath every human language, underneath every word, every sentence, every thought, there is now a universal substrate. Code. Binary. Ones and zeros. Everything we know, every piece of human knowledge, every image, every video, every book, every scientific paper, is being converted into the same language, digital format. Right now, approximately 120 zettabytes of digital data exists in the world. Every zettabyte is 1 trillion gigabytes. Every piece of it encoded in the same tongue, the same script, the same structure, the same language. One speech. But wait, it gets stranger. Because even within human speech, the internet has created something unprecedented, a global lingua franca. English has become the operating system of the modern world. 60% of all internet content is in English. The world's scientists publish in English. Its diplomats negotiate in English.
Its engineers code in English-based languages. Its global corporations operate in English. And now, AI is trained primarily on English text, meaning the world's most powerful intelligence system was born thinking in one tongue, one language, and a common speech. Genesis 11:1, describing the world today. But here is the layer most people miss entirely. At Babel, the unity of language was not just about communication. It was about shared reality. Language does not just describe the world. Language shapes it. The Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, one of the most fascinating ideas in linguistics, proposes that the language you think in determines what you are capable of thinking, what you can conceive, what you can imagine, what you believe is possible. If everyone speaks the same language, everyone shares the same cognitive framework, the same mental architecture. And when that happens, as God Himself said at Babel, nothing they plan to do will be impossible for them. We are now building a global shared cognitive framework. Social media platforms, search engines, AI assistants. These systems are not just connecting people. They are shaping how people think, what they value, what they fear, what they believe is normal, what they believe is possible. 3 billion people experience reality through the same algorithmic lens, the same trending stories, the same viral beliefs, the same curated worldview. One language and a common speech, not just in words, in thought itself. A tower that reaches to the heavens. Let's talk about what we are actually building, because the modern world has not one tower, it has thousands, and they are not made of brick. We have left the surface of the Earth. We have placed machines in orbit. We have sent probes beyond the edge of the solar system. We have placed footprints on the moon. We have, literally, built towers that reach to the heavens. But that is almost the least remarkable thing, because the towers that should concern us most are not visible to the naked eye. They are made of light, of electromagnetic signal, of invisible threads connecting every human being on Earth into a single network, the Internet. Let's understand what this actually is. Not metaphorically, literally. As of 2024, the Internet consists of over 5 billion connected humans, over 15 billion connected devices, more than 600,000 miles of undersea fiber optic cable running along the ocean floor, connecting every continent, 1.9 billion websites, and data centers consuming more electricity than the entire country of Germany. This is not a communication tool. This is an infrastructure. This is a civilization within a civilization. And it is organized, coordinated, purposeful, reaching everywhere, including, and this is not a metaphor, the heavens themselves. Elon Musk's Starlink project. As of 2024, more than 6,000 satellites orbit the Earth, broadcasting internet connectivity to every location on the planet. Amazon's Project Kuiper plans to add 3,200 more. OneWeb, Telesat, Globalstar. We are wrapping the Earth in a digital exoskeleton. We are building a tower, not reaching to heaven, extending through it. But even this is not the deepest layer, because the tower at Babel was not primarily about height.
Humanity is building Babel again. The tower is rising. The language is unified. The name is being made. And the clock, as it did once before, is ticking toward a divine interruption. But you do not have to be on the tower when it happens. You can be, like Abraham, already walking away, already following a voice that said, "Leave this. Go. I will show you. I will bless you. I will make your name great. And through you, all the nations of the earth will be blessed." The tower they are building cannot reach heaven, but the God of heaven can always reach you.